In this tutorial, we're going to cover the basics of creating a Report Writer report in Payentry.com. From the main menu, choose Reports. In the Reports section, you're going to choose the tab called Report Writer. In the Report Writer tab, you have a choice of editing an existing Report Writer report or choosing New. We are going to choose New. Once you've chosen New, you're going to first pick the report type. The most commonly used report type is Employee List. The Employee List will give you one line per employee. Most of your reporting requirements are going to be one line per employee. In a future tutorial, we will cover the other report types. Once you've chosen Employee List, the next thing you want to do is give your report a title. We are going to set up a year-to-date insurance report. And we could give it a subtitle if we needed to. Don't need to, so I'm going to skip that. And now we want to select the fields that we want on the report. You have the choice of company level fields and employee level fields. The company level fields contain company data such as the name, the company's address, and so forth. Most of the time, you're going to be in the employee level fields. If you click on the plus sign, you will see that it will open up the choices of the fields. If you scroll down, you'll see you have most of the demographic information in the beginning, and then towards the bottom, you have the year-to-date, quarter-to-date, month-to-date, and current sections for the amount fields. And we're going to scroll back up to the top, and the first thing that we're going to do is put the employee's ID number on the report. So I'm going to select EE number. I'm just going to double click it, and once I double click it, you see that it will automatically populate into the field section. In the field section, the field is the actual name that is in the database. For example, for the employee ID number, that name is EE.ID. The heading is actually the title that is over that field. You can customize the heading to be anything that you'd like it to be. The length is the maximum length of that particular field. So in this case, the employee ID's maximum length is 6. If you have a shorter employee ID number, you can shorten it. However, you want to pick whichever is bigger, the heading or the actual field data, as your length. The number of decimals will default. If it is an alpha or an alphanumeric field, such as employee ID, it will default to 0. And in this case, that means there are no decimals involved because this is not an amount field. If it is an amount field, the length typically will default to 12 and the number of decimals 2. Since we are dealing with money, you always want to make it 2 decimal places. The L and R are left justified or right justified. The numeric fields are automatically right justified, and then most of the other fields are left justified. Fill is only when you need to, for example, zero fill an amount field for a download or something like that. The order is what order do you want these fields to display on the report. Okay, you can move them up or down depending on where you want that particular field. Remove is if you wanted to delete. that particular field from the report. Okay, we'll also go into the format section in just a minute when we add some amount fields. The next field I'm going to add is the employee's name. Notice that employee name is broken out into different fields. The last name, we'll double click it, and the first name. I could choose to put the middle name, but I'm not going to for this particular report. Notice how big the last name field is. It defaults to 25 characters. In the report writer, you have a limit for the Payentry Report Writer of 100 characters. So typically most last names are not this big and you will want to shorten it. But we're going to save it and run it first just to take a look at it and see how our report is building so far. So I'm going to go up to the top and click Save. This will save all of our entries. And now I'm going to choose Run. When you choose Run, it will automatically take you to this Run Report Writer menu. Here you can choose to default the date to the most recent payroll, which is typically what most of the reports will be. Or if you are doing a report for a certain time frame, you can pick it from here, a current month or current year, the quarter, or a range of dates to override it with. The output is defaulted to a PDF file, but you do have the ability to create a download, such as a comma separated values download or a text file. And then you can choose to either view the completed report on the screen or have it emailed to you. I'm going to leave it as view on the screen. And now I'm going to choose Run Report. Once you run it, it will give you this job status. Just click Refresh. It will open up your report. In the actual report, you will see here's your name, your title that you've given it, this company name, the current payroll run because that's the dates that we chose. You see that we have the employee number, the last name, and notice all of this white space because most of the names are approximately, it looks to be about 10 characters or less. So we've got a lot of empty space. And then we have the first name. The first name is defaulted to 15 characters, but we don't have anyone near that many characters. When you're setting up a report, I suggest that you run it periodically as you start building it, just to make sure everything is looking the way you expect it. I'm going to close this out and go back to the reports. And now that you will see our year-to-date insurance report is in our existing database, and we're just going to pick Edit. Edit will take me right back to where I was. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shorten the last name to just be 15 characters and first name 12. Okay, I can always go back if I end up getting an employee that has longer names. I can go back and change this at any time. Now I'm going to continue adding fields. I'm going to add a year-to-date field for the health and the dental. So I'm going to scroll all the way down and find my year-to-date figures, and they are in here. I'm going to hit the plus sign, and you will see that I have the year-to-date for all my deductions, earnings, and taxes. I'm going to scroll back up, and with the D in front, you know that these are deductions. This particular company calls their dental and health 125H for health, and 125D for dental. Okay, notice that each one of these has a little plus sign. If I open the plus sign, it will open up the amount field. When I double click it, it's going to load the amount field here. I'm going to do the same thing for the dental. Okay, so I now have year-to-date 125 health and 125 dental. I can go in under the heading and change these to be a more user-friendly type of title. So I'm just going to call this health and this one dental. Since my title already has year-to-date, I don't need to put the year-to-date designation on each column. I can just put the descriptor. Let's go in and run this report and see what it's looking like now. I'm going to hit save to save my changes, and then I'm going to select run. At the Run Report Writer menu, I'm going to let everything default like it did last time and choose Run. I'm going to refresh the job status, and here's my new report. I now have less white space in between because I've shortened the last name and shortened the first name field. And I now have health and dental. One of the things that we recommend as a good rule of thumb is to add or show zeros instead of these blanks when an employee has a zero amount. It just makes the report easier to read. And also notice that there are no totals or grand totals at the bottom. You have to select the total fields to total them at the bottom. So we're going to close this out and go back to the Reports menu, back to editing the insurance report, and that's where we want to do the changes in the format box. I'm going to open the format box for the health deduction, and the first thing I'm going to choose is the show zero. So now anyone who has a zero amount will show a zero. I'm going to select total, so it will total that field. The rest of these will change the punctuation, the display of punctuation. An overpunch is used for a mainframe interface, and uppercase will change everything to be uppercase in case your database is upper and lowercase. We're only going to do these first two, show zero and total. It is recommended that you make all of your amount fields the same format. So show zero and total for the other amount field as well. I'm now going to save it and choose Run. Again, I'm going to let everything default and choose Run Report. And now we see the zeros in the report, and we see a total for each one of our deductions. In our next tutorial, we will show you how to sort the report in a different order, and also how to filter out only the people that you want on the report.